for joining us, Aaron. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, man. You should see the room I'm in right now. That's incredible.
I can only imagine. All right, let's get it started. We'll start off with Wes Hodkiewicz, Packers.com. Go ahead, Wes.
Aaron, hey, this journey that Dave's been on, for the last 12 months, I was just wondering what that meant to you tonight, going back on the huddle and seeing 69 out there with you.
Oh man, it's been a long year for him, and I'm just so proud of him to get back out there. We had a conversation on Wednesday, and I don't think he was thinking about playing. And I just kind of floated the idea and said, hey, what if you come out and play a couple series Sunday? For whatever reason, that kind of maybe slightly adjusted, course corrected his, what he wanted to do. But I'm so proud of him. He's been through so much, and obviously being really close to him and getting to have a lot of conversations with him. It's been tough, mentally, which is understandable. To think you're coming back, week 7, maybe week 8, and to have a setback, another surgery, and then it's been tough on him. But I'm so proud of him. I thought it seemed like he was fantastic, but I'm just really happy for him, the person. He's a great person. He makes our team better. Obviously, he's an incredible player. But to celebrate him and his happiness today is pretty special, and nothing like running out there and seeing the big giraffe heading out as well.
All right, next up, Rachel Hopmeyer, NBC 26. Go ahead, Rachel.
Aaron, can you hear me?
Yeah.
How much play calling did you get when you put the headset on? What was it like, being in that role?
Zero. Just sometimes, like in the preseason, I'll do that if it seems like I need to calm somebody down. So I enjoy getting on. I didn't want to get on until the fourth quarter and help Matt out, with some of the 2-minute calls or ideas. But I love being on the headset. It's a fun group of coaches, and obviously, we're playing to win, but already with the 1 seed locked up, it was maybe a little less tense than it usually is in a close game like that.
All right, next up, Hunter Baumgart, WJJQ. Go ahead, Hunter.
Hey, Aaron, just a quick question about the toe. Is that going to be a non-issue as you go into the playoffs? You're able to practice a couple of times this week and obviously opted to play today because, instead of getting 2 weeks of rest on it, was it able to pretty much heal how you wanted it to over these last 6 or so weeks?
I don't know about how I wanted it to. I didn't want to have any setbacks. They had multiple setbacks throughout the 6-7 weeks, but I feel good. Toe made it out again. Okay, we'll probably do a scan, x-ray next couple of days, see where it's at, but I feel like it's going to be a non-issue moving forward.
All right, next up, Marcus Eversole, WDUZ. Go ahead, Marcus.
Hey, Aaron, you got me? So you guys obviously had the number 1 seed and home field last year, but now obviously you'll be at Lambeau all the way to the Super Bowl. Last year with limited fans, how much are you looking forward to having the 1 seed with a full capacity? And really, how big a difference do you think having a full house of fans makes with having that number 1 seed?
I think it makes a huge difference. We've played in some tough environments on the road in the playoffs over the years, and when the crowd is rocking and yelling and standing up, it's tough. It makes it really hard on the opposing team's offense for verbal communication, cadence, and different things. So I'm really looking forward to having a full crowd, that good old Green Bay weather. It's been an advantage for us for a long time, and I think it'll be an advantage having 78,000 instead of 7,800 like we did last year.
All right, next up, Kyle Malzahn, WFRV TV. Go ahead, Kyle.
Hey, Aaron, in your second year working with Jordan Love in that quarterback room, I'm curious as to how your guys' relationship has grown the most this season.
I think as an older player, you create opportunities for young guys to feel comfortable. I think that's the best thing you can do from a leadership standpoint, from an older teammate standpoint. So that's what I've tried to do in the quarterback room, create an environment that's fun, that's laid back, that's carefree, that involves a lot of communication and conversation about football and non-football stuff. And that's what I've tried to do with all my rooms, and especially as really the age differences has crept up over the last few years. Just create a room that is really fun and comfortable and allows guys to be themselves. And I've seen Jordan's personality, continue to come out, and as he settles into the NFL and professional life, and obviously having his sweetie back has definitely made a difference. I think from just a pure enjoyment standard. Last year in COVID, that wasn't the case. So it's been a lot of fun. He's a great kid. He really is. He cares about it. He works his butt off. He asks good questions, and he's got a great wry sense of humor. He's a quiet kid, but I respect that. I was a quiet kid as a young player too. So I really enjoy his personality. I enjoy his friendship, and we have a lot of fun together. And I'm proud of the way he played today.
All right, next up, Adriana Torres, Fox 11. Go ahead.
Hello. A bunch of players talked this week just about getting a win today would bring a lot of momentum into the playoffs. Obviously, you guys didn't get that done, but with it being close, did you feel like you got some momentum heading into the bye week and then the playoffs?
Look, we already locked up the 1 seed, so the win was obviously would be nice, but the most important thing was get out there. I really wanted to we talked about momentum, that's important. I wanted to get out there with Dave and Josh. That was my main focus. Obviously, wanted to get Devontae, his record, but get some rhythm within the offense, get some rhythm with those two guys especially. We got to figure out what our best 5 is and what our healthiest 5 is. Obviously, Billy's coming back from an injury. Royce has played a ton of football for us. Lucas played a ton of football for us. So we got to figure out what our best 5 is. And, it's nice to see Dave out there at left tackle and Josh in there at center. And then Lucas moving back to center in the second half and Royce going back at right guard. I think we have a lot of depth, which is a good thing to have. And we'll see what Billy's status is moving forward for the playoffs. But I like where we're at offensively up front. And I think that was what today was most about.
All right, next up, Wes, Packers.com. Go ahead, Wes.
Aaron, you just kind of touched on it a little bit, but obviously as special as that 14 season was for Jordy, what did you think of what Devontae did this year and for him to be able to leave this season with both the receptions and the receiving yards records?
Yeah, it's special. He's a special player. He's so unique in his skill set and his understanding of coverages and his hands and his route running. And I've talked about all that, but I've seen a lot from the person this year. As he's really settled into his role as a leader on the football team, leader in his room. I love seeing that. And he got great examples as a young player to play behind and play with Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and James Jones, great leaders for us, great players, kind of saw what it looked like. And then he's just, paid his dues and become a star and become a superstar and become a generational star. And as he's ascended each level, the leadership has accompanied that. And that's, as a fellow leader, that's what you'd love to see. You'd love to see guys willing to speak up at the right time, take control of their room, hold people accountable, hold themselves to an incredibly high standard every single day of practice. He deserves it. That's what I told him at halftime. I said, he really deserves this because of the way he conducts himself, the way he plays, his incredible talent and drive. And I'm just so fortunate to be able to be a part of it.
All right, next up we go to Lily Zhao, Fox 6 Milwaukee. Go ahead, Lily.
Hey, Aaron, just going off that, Allen-Lazard was talking about, Devontae's the guy he's chasing in the wide receiver room. You've been with him his entire career. Do you see him kind of on that trajectory to get to where Tay is eventually one day?
I love Allen. Allen's a fantastic player, does so much for us. I'm going to reserve that judgment out of respect for Devontae. I wouldn't say that about Devontae comparing him to Jordy as a young player. I just think that I love where Allen's at. I love how he's really played well since the LA game. Made a bunch of smart plays, great catches, contested catches. But Devontae is kind of in a category by himself, so I'm going to leave him there. And it's no disrespect to anybody else, but he's earned that distinction in that category all by himself.
Next up, Tom Silverstein, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Go ahead, Tom.
Aaron, I assume in a quote unquote meaningless game, the focus can sometimes drift, or there could be a possibility of that occurring. How did you think you guys handled it during the week and during the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a nice week of practice. I think the energy level was a little bit lower than maybe the standard we played at the last few weeks. I'm not sure if that was, not having a few of our guys or just the understanding that certain guys weren't going to play a whole lot. But I didn't feel like energetically we were maybe as, as hyped or as focused as we usually are. I felt like we were a little bit lethargic at times on offense. Kind of getting back to the huddle, getting out of the huddle. So that's something that, we just got to be aware of. But I also think we're a little hypersensitive at this point because we knew, I was going to play a half, Josh was going to play a half, Dave was going to play 20, 25 plays-ish. So we knew there was kind of an end to today's start earlier than the 60 minutes. So I don't put a whole lot of worry or weight into a lot of that stuff. Like I said earlier, the most important thing today was, for me, in my mind, was to get out there with Josh and for him to feel the tempo, and to get out there with Dave and get him comfortable, feeling good about being able to play the whole game come divisional round.
All right, next up, Kyle Melzon, WFRV TV. Go ahead, Kyle.
Aaron, you've been called on a lot this season post game, and I asked Lazard this just a little bit ago, and he kind of gave me a gist. But from your words, what was your post game message to the guys in the locker room as you guys head into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it wasn't anything real special. Just kind of gave him a question to think about this week during the bye week, revolving around mindset and habits and focus. The fact is, it's win or go home at this point. We have a little over a month left of the season, and let's make sure we're kind of thinking about the right things, doing the right things, focused on the end goal. The coach is always going to keep you, as blinded as possible, kind of with a narrow focus. But I do believe in the power of manifestation and the power of speaking things into existence. And I encourage the guys all the time to start dreaming about what it would feel like to be on that stage. I don't think that's overlooking an opponent. I just think that's a part of the visualization process, is to picture yourself in those situations, playing in the Super Bowl, and that's the focus every single year. And now it's right in front of us. We got home field advantage, got a week off, and I think that needs to be on the guys' mind moving forward.
All right, and lastly, we will finish up with Tom Silverstein of Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Go ahead, Tom.
Aaron, so in the early going, we passed quite a bit, and I don't know if you were worried about the Lions bringing it or not, but it looked like they stayed in pretty much four-man rushes a lot of the time. Were you really wanting to pass the ball for the sake of Dave and Josh as much as anything?
I think so. Yeah, I think that was important. I mean, Dave, I think Matt did as well. I wanted to get him in some kick sets and get him feeling good about bull rushes and speed rushes and inside moves, and just get him comfortable as much as anything. They did bring a couple pressures, but yeah, it was a lot of too high coverages, and we've done a good job, figuring out certain concepts we like into that stuff. But I think as much as anything, the way the first half went, for the most part, we had a couple mental errors, but for the most part, we wanted to be aggressive throwing the ball and take some shots down the field, get Dave out there for 25 snaps or so, and get Josh the first half to get his wind back. But I like what we accomplished. It wasn't too dissimilar to the first game, game 2, week 2 against them. They were at 17-14 at half, I believe, and we ended up beating 35-17. So it felt very similar to that, and we feel good about offensively where we're at and what we accomplished today.
All right.